Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Friday, 7th June 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillian Group. Jamaica bans ride-sharing apps like inDrive and Uber over criminal activities. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. A special blend of affordability and convenience has given rise to the popularity of ride-hailing and ride-sharing applications in Jamaica. However, this modern trend has also been associated with unfavorable ordeals, including murders and robberies. As a result, such services will be banned effective immediately for at least the next year. Natalia Clark of CVM News reports.
In March last year, 37-year-old Devroy Peart responded to an inDrive taxi charter request. His vehicle was trailed and he and his two passengers were killed. 2 months later, on May 14, 26-year-old Leroy Page was carrying out inDrive services when he disappeared. The part-time student's vehicle was soon found scrapped in Red Hills, St. Andrew. Around the same time, a woman shared on social media how an inDrive operator attempted to kidnap her in Kingston. Since then, there have been several reports of robberies and assault connected to the transnational ride-sharing app. The latest came on Monday, when skeletal remains, believed to be those of missing teacher Danielle Anglin, were found. The police say it appears she employed the services of an inDrive operator, who then killed her and dumped her body.
The suspect operates one of those ride-share service. One of the challenges that we are faced with as investigators is we do not have any local-based association or organization that we can contact when investigating cases involving these type of services.
And that's why Transport Minister Darrell Vaz today called for the immediate ban on all ride-sharing apps locally.
Until such time as we can come to the table and work out properly how these apps will be regulated in terms of making sure that safety, background checks of the drivers are done not only by the app, the ride-share apps, but by the Jamaican authorities.
He says Cable and Wireless Jamaica Limited and its local affiliates are directed to restrict access through its network to inDrive, Uber, 876 On The Go, Lyft and Ride Jamaica. He also shares that for some time now, the ministry has been attempting to engage all stakeholders in the subsector, but notes only one international provider responded favorably.
The only overseas provider that has indicated their willingness to operate within the legal framework is Uber. I summoned them and they came from corporate office to Jamaica to sit down with me and the team to have a discussion. And the bottom line is that it was a useful discussion that continues.
A meeting is to be held this week with local ride-sharing service providers, while problem-bound inDrive remains elusive. The minister says he will go to the end of the world to ensure the ban is not just enacted, but enforced.
And I make no apologies. I have a responsibility. I have the responsibility as a minister and an elected representative protect the lives of the people.
The ban will run for a year or until a regulatory regime is in place. President of one of Jamaica's largest taxi associations, Edgerton Newman, is welcoming the move.
Until they can prove to the people of Jamaica that they are authentic, that they've gone to the channels of this country, which mean the transport authority, to get all the regulations in place, they should pack their bags and go.
Natalia Clark, CVM News.
A Broward judge has set a $100,000 bond for singer Sean Kingston, who is facing $1 million fraud charges. Kingston is accused of stealing money, jewelry, a Cadillac Escalade SUV, and furniture. More in the CBS Miami News.
Just until a few days ago, as we all know, he is being held in California, but now he is up there in the Broward jail in a cell. And just a few hours ago, he went before a judge to find out exactly how he could be released from that jail cell.
I'm still alive to the end of time. Even though they want me dead.
Singer and rapper Sean Kingston put his recent California arrest front and center in his new music video, along with his mother taken into custody at their rented Southwest Ranches home. The two accused of stealing money, jewelry, a car, and furniture.
Mr. Anderson, good afternoon, sir. I have your attorneys, Mr. Rosenblatt and Ms. Brzezanek, on Zoom today.
Kingston, whose real name is Keshawn Anderson, was extradited back to Broward County over the weekend. At his bond hearing, Anderson listened intently as a judge outlined the 10 criminal charges, including an organized scheme to defraud, grand theft, fraud, criminal use of personal identification, and violation of probation for trafficking stolen property.
That Mr. Anderson's probation is out of the state of California, and that is why I'm asking that Your Honor put that as a no bond hold, because one, I don't know that the court has the authority to set a bond on a California violation of probation.
But Anderson's lawyer said since a Florida judge already set bond on the violation of probation, he should be eligible for release.
And if California wanted to hold him, I'm sure they wouldn't have extradited him to Florida.
Somebody call 911!
Though it's been years since Kingston had a hit, spectators who knew him when came to watch what happened, including Laura, who said he had a concert at Florida State that was packed.
When I was growing up, I followed his music and popular Disney Channel shows that I would always watch. He would make guest appearances on and sing, and I've just always been a fan of his music.
Fans aside, the judge set bond at $100,000, and like his mother, Anderson is expected to be released from jail soon. Now, we did check with the court. He has to have a hearing to determine whether the bond funds are coming from any illegal activity, but that is supposed to all be straightened out shortly, and we do expect that he will be released on bond in the coming days. In Fort Lauderdale, Joan Murray, CBS News, Miami.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Being motivated is a personal choice, so says Managing Director and Principal Consultant of Development Consulting Center, Richard Solomon. Mr. Solomon said that even if an employer tries his best to motivate his employees, the zeal has to come from within. TTT News has more.
Richard Solomon implores organizations to be mindful of the people that they hire.
One, we have to start by hiring the right people. Don't hire people who just don't fit. And some organizations behave as if they're desperate. Once you have a pulse, you have a heartbeat, you're upright, we're going to hire you. You're going to end up in trouble. You can't train that attitude into people. You can't whip it into them either. Because what that ends up with is, okay, it's a threat. You'll lose your job or you get docked your pay if you don't. And some people just don't, even that they don't care about.
Mr. Solomon said that employers must set boundaries and encourage greater levels of productivity.
indoctrinate people in what this organization is about, what we will tolerate and what we won't tolerate. And leaders have to have the strength of purpose to say, look, if you're not a good fit within that early 60, 90-day period, that period of time, let's call a spade a spade. Let's not say we're going to give you a chance and make you permanent.
The mid-year review is fast approaching, and economist Dr. Valmiki Ajoun, in an examination of the country's financial landscape, says that lukewarm global energy prices are taking an effect. He says this would explain the need for collection of taxes, as espoused by Trinidad and Tobago's finance minister. Again, TTT News provides some details.
The minister's affidavit with respect to the TTRE, and getting the TTRE on stream as soon as possible. He mentioned in that affidavit the fact that energy prices are not, or he alluded to it, that energy prices are not really in our favor as they were in the previous year, the year before that. The budgeted oil price is $85 per barrel, but oil prices for the larger part of this first half of the fiscal year has been less than $85 per barrel. We are more or less tied closer to Brent.
Dr. Arjun says that even though the energy revenues are not where the country desires, TNT is still moving forward along a positive path in other sectors.
Is that the non-energy sector are performing quite well. The revenues from the non-energy sector, when we look at that, they're performing much. It's much better. It's about 3.53 billion higher. That is largely because of certain sectors like manufacturing, construction, and finance and distribution. Those sectors have been performing better, more so the manufacturing sector, non-energy manufacturing sector. Remember, since the latter part of COVID, they would have ramped up their production to take advantage of the increase in global demand. They would have tapped into a higher market. They would have increased their market share internationally.
The Economist is suggesting that along with targeted energy sector incentives to increase the country's appeal to multinational firms, plans need to be devised to work toward an increase in the share that the non-energy sector contributes to the country's GDP.
Evangelical pastors have been playing a key role in preparations for Kenya's mission to tackle gang violence in Haiti. More in this Reuters news report.
Ruto and his wife Rachel wear their faith very publicly and have involved evangelical leaders in matters of state. That includes through the First Lady's faith diplomacy program, which enlists religious leaders to support social initiatives.
We felt at the national altar that we cannot allow our police to go to Haiti without prayer.
In March, she said a group of pastors was working on a spiritual solution for Haiti. Spokespeople for Ruto and his wife did not respond to requests for comment. The pastors' efforts have included meetings with Haitians in the United States, evangelical counterparts, U.S. government officials, and even Haiti's most notorious gang leader, Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier. Serge Musasilwa, one evangelical pastor involved in the initiative, said he believed prayer would help quell the violence and that they could still appeal to Barbecue's moral sense.
This guy might be a devil, but there is something that we can build on.
Pierre Esperance, executive director of the National Human Rights Defense Network in Haiti, said Kenya should stick to its security mandate. He called the outreach to gang leaders an insult to their victims. However, people involved in the initiative say relationships forged with Haitian communities will help avoid the mistakes of foreign interventions in recent decades. Besides failing to stabilize Haiti, those missions have left behind legacies of human rights abuses and disease. But evangelicals have their own complicated history in Haiti. Resources have been poured into humanitarian projects, but there's also been ethical scandals, including alleged child trafficking following a devastating 2010 earthquake. Today, Haiti is facing an escalating hunger crisis. Gang fighting has forced hundreds of thousands from their homes and closed ports, cutting off key supplies. Gang violence killed more than 1,500 people in the first 3 months of this year. The Kenya-led multinational mission was approved in October, but has been hit by repeated delays. Nevertheless, the Ruto administration has insisted that the deployment is imminent.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.